Welcome back, listeners. It's Sunday in South Carolina. Welcome to the Touchdowns podcast presented by Cross Country Mortgage, Harrison Williamson. Y'all might know him as Hicks, but Harrison is a licensed mortgage broker, lender in the Carolinas, and he's here for all of your mortgage needs. Give him a call or text 828-406-3684. He's here to help you through one of the biggest decisions you'll ever make in your life, which is purchasing a home. Again, he's licensed throughout the Carolinas. Give Harrison a call for all of your mortgage needs, 828-406-3684. Another gloomy Sunday in South Carolina as the Gamecocks drop their fourth in a row to the Ole Miss Rebels. Same shit, different day, it seems like, with this team. Do you want to start, Thomas, or what? Just start us off, man. What are your thoughts, or do you want me to ramble?
I'll go first. Overall, same story. Defense played good. Offense did not. Although I do want to push back a little bit on the complaints about play calling, if there were any, for this game. You know, we took a shot to Nick first time we touched the ball, and I know that's something that you've been asking for all season. I think a lot of Gamecock fans have, wanted us to challenge teams vertically more often, and it was there, and the line held up, and Lenore's put it out there, and it hit Nick in the hands, and he couldn't come down with it. We did hit one to him later in the game, but it was the same end result in that the offense could not score points, but we failed a little bit differently this week. I think this game was one of Lenoris's worst games because I think for the first time this season, he made a lot of mistakes that were not the fault of the O-line. I mean, the O-line definitely was not great, and he was under duress a lot. Sacks, pressures, hurries, but there were multiple times where he had a pocket, we had an open receiver, and Lenoris just missed the guy. One of the misses, he did have to roll out and extend the play, but there were plenty of opportunities where if he had put a little bit more touch on it or had been a little bit more accurate, we had guys open that could have gone for really big explosive plays. I thought that there were a couple of times where he had the option to pitch it or keep it, and he made the wrong decision in that scenario. But yeah, it doesn't really matter. At the end of the day, we have a great defense. They played really well. I know that kind of the end of the game got away from us, and they let Lacey pop off for that long touchdown run in the fourth quarter after, I kind of think that we had given up at that point. But yesterday and for this whole season, the defense has done more than enough for us to be a winning football team, and the offense has just not been there. I don't really understand people's kind of reaction, or I don't understand why each week that goes by, people get re-upset with Beamer again. It's like we are what we are. Like, we have a good defense this year and we have a bad offense. Ole Miss is a top 10 team. We were playing on the road. We were very competitive with them for 3.5 quarters. Like, I don't understand the people that are now like, yeah, of course I wanted to win as well. Of course, it is frustrating that, it felt like at multiple different times in the game, we were right in it and had the ability to win. And at the end of the day, you have to win. And we did not. But nothing is going to change this season. We have a good defense and a bad offense. And I'll be curious to see what we do with the bye week in terms of preparing for Texas A&M, and if the extra preparation allows the offense to come up with any more wrinkles, or if that will affect our effectiveness. But he has been.
Shula fired? According to
What?
sources. All right, this is some
All right.
breaking news here.
All right. Well,
Let's
okay.
go.
Okay.
Let's
All
go.
right. Well, that's gonna change.
Come on now.
That changes the episode. All right. Let me collect my thoughts. Well, there we go. I thought that was going to happen at the end of the season, and I was fine with it happening at the end of the season. I'm also fine with it happening right now. Again, and I will probably say this 1,000 more times before we kick off. I care a lot about beating Clemson, and I hope that this move does not inhibit our ability to do that. Obviously, someone pulled the trigger, and I don't know who's going to be calling plays for the rest of the year, but in my opinion, we should spend the next 3 weeks preparing to beat Clemson. I don't care about a bowl game. I don't care about Texas A&M. We should be able to beat Coastal Carolina just based off of talent disparity. Whoever is about to be the new OC, get a game plan together for Clemson. Duke just dropped 50 on them. Their defense is reeling. I think that game is going to come down to which coach has a better control over the locker room. There's a clip going viral on Twitter and probably other platforms of Dabo chewing out the defense after they allow an explosive touchdown to Duke at the end of the first half to tie it up at 28-28. And one of the players, I think it's Khalil Barnes, I'm not sure, is just kind of like, you can tell that he's checked out. He doesn't care what Dabo has to say. Which coach has Dabo lost the locker room? Is Beamer losing the locker room? I desperately want to win that game for many, many reasons. I was going to say this later in the episode, but, my opinion for how we address the problem in the program and how we move forward from this season, which has been, an utter disappointment. Extend Clayton, extend Tigray, extend Sterling Lucas, keep the core of the defensive staff happy, give them whatever they want. I was going to say fire Shula and go find a new OC once the carousel gets going. So we have fired Shula. So I believe that is step one. Now let's give the defensive staff what they want. And Beck, I'll let you jump in.
Yeah, I had this whole rant in my head about how we should can Shula during the bye week, and I'm fucking glad Beamer did it. Hey man, Shula, you're a nice guy. You didn't get the job done. I wanted to have some meat to this rant on Shula, and one of the things that I have kind of been bitching and moaning about is our inability to sustained drives, and then our lack of red zone ability to score touchdowns. I think we're converting like 30% on third down, which is damn near bottom of the country. We're terrible in the red zone, but I just looked this up, and I used 75 yards as a barometer because that's where the ball comes out to on a touchback. So that's typically your average field position on a standard drive is going to be 75 yards, barring a turnover or, a big special teams play. We have 4 drives this entire season that have resulted in a touchdown that were 75 yards. 1 against Virginia Tech, 1 against Vandy, and 2 against Kentucky. 3 of those 4 were on scripted first drives of the game. So we have 1 drive the entire season where we had to go the length of the field and score a touchdown. 1 drive we've done that this entire fucking season against Kentucky in the fourth quarter where we were already up 2 scores and there was no pressure to even score. We really were just playing keep away and running the clock out. We didn't even really need to score. And the point of all this is to your point, we've been in every game. We've been in every game, and I think that's the fans' frustration is we've been in every game, and when we needed to have a drive, we can't do it. And like it's not even that we've done it some and we've failed. Like it is just we can't do it. We literally cannot move the ball when we need to move the ball. 4 fucking times we've gone the length of the field to score a touchdown. Bama, we get the muff punt. Ole Miss, we get the muff punt. We have the 3 bombs to Nick Harbor. We have the bomb to Dre Jacobs against Missouri. Like, it is so inept. Like, it's even just worse than just the numbers, like the high-level numbers, which are god-awful, historically bad. And then when you dive even deeper, it is even worse. And so I had this whole, I wanted to vent because and I think everyone's been calling for Shula for a while, so it's not like a new revelation to be calling for his head. But I did think going into this bye week, we were going to be facing some questions of, do we fire him now? Do we fire him at the end of the season? Who's going to call plays for the last 3 games? Who gives a fuck who calls plays the last 3 games? In my opinion. I'm glad Beamer did it now, and I don't even care who calls plays the last 3 games because it can't get any worse than it was.
Well, I don't care who calls plays either, but I hope it can't get any worse. I really do, because here's my thing. Here's my thing. Clemson is terrible. I don't want our bullshit to let them off the hook. Like, yes, we clearly needed to make a move at the end of the season moving forward in order to progress the program in the direction that we want it to go. But, he's gone now, so it's a moot point. But, like, I was willing to let him ride out the season if that was going to give us the stability that we needed to beat Clemson.
But that's the thing. The stability isn't good. We need a shakeup. We needed a shakeup. Fuck the stability.
All right.
The stability of being horrible.
I hope that you're right, because if we had a better option, I don't know why we hadn't passed it off already. I'll be super curious to see who we give the responsibility to, and I think that it's possible that the move was made going into the bye week, so we have 2 weeks to get the new play caller ready. I really don't know what the catalyst for this was. I'll be super curious to see how Beamer addresses it in his press conferences. But yeah, it's like if we had a better option, you would think that we would have already deployed it before now. Like I was kind of
Yeah.
it kind of felt like to me is like we are stuck with Shula till the end of the season. And I didn't want if he really was our best option on staff, I didn't want to fire him just for the sake of firing someone in the moment because like I'll say this 1,000 times. It can always get worse at every level. As bad as we've been, it's possible to be worse. Like we're not the worst offense in the SEC. Auburn is. Auburn scored 3 points on Kentucky. So it's like,
Yeah, their ass.
you
Hugh
know,
Freeze is about to get canned
yeah,
too, though.
Hugh Freeze is done. But
He was playing golf today.
yeah, one more round, one last round. Uh,
No, but
I
yeah.
mean,
Hey, one thing too, Thomas, that you brought it up earlier in the year, and it's a valid point that you brought up, and it speaks to a larger conversation. But I remember when we were struggling earlier in the year, and the heat was starting to get on Shula, and you said, well, we made this hire on Shula probably via, a multitude of reasons, but probably one of the reasons was consulting with Lenoris. And if Lenoris went to Coach Beamer and said, hey, I've been working with, Coach Shula, and I want him to be the offensive coordinator, that's got to factor into Beamer's decision to hire Shula.
right.
And I think the story here, and whether that's, hey, hire Mike Shula or I'm transferring to Auburn, and he gave it that no one knows that conversation whether that was a conversation or not, but I just think it speaks to we have to, in this era of college football, you can't you as a coach you have to make hires and be willing for players to move on, even your best players to move on for the betterment of the program, in my opinion.
Devil's advocate, no, you don't. Because Auburn has a national championship because they were able to acquire Cam Newton for 1 year. Like obviously this year didn't go the way that we wanted it to go, but like it is a case by case basis. It depends on the player. It depends on the play. Like literally Auburn has a national championship forever, and the head coach that won them that national championship was Gene Chizik, and he got fired 2 years later. He never did anything of significance outside of the season with Cam Newton, but you can't take that national championship or season away from Auburn. So, I mean,
but that 2010 Cam Newton season is
I'm just saying certain players
is one in a million. That's
in
arguably the best college football season ever.
In my opinion, certain players supersede coaching hires. I get what you're saying. You can't just completely fold to player needs and player desires when you're putting your staff together. But in certain instances, especially involving the quarterback, it does factor in, and it will continue to, in my opinion. I think so obviously we're in the market now for an offensive coordinator. We're probably going to cover this later in the episode on whether or not we think Lenoris should stay in college, whether or not if he chooses to stay in college, he will choose to stay at South Carolina. I am still under the assumption that he has done enough and put enough on film that his traits will get him drafted, and he will be a first or second round draft pick in this year's draft. He will go pro. So we will be in the market for a quarterback. And I won't be shocked if part of the decision in who we hire as our next offensive coordinator will come with a portal quarterback attached to him. And I'm not saying that we will hire the OC based off of who he can bring with him. I'm saying we will hire somebody and they will probably bring a quarterback with them for next season because, you know, we've heard great things about Cutter Woods out of camp. I think he has the potential to be a good player one day. But if you look at next season's schedule, I'm of the opinion that we need our starting quarterback to be someone who has more game experience than anyone on the roster behind Lenoris. So if Lenoris is not our quarterback next year, I will feel a lot better about it if our quarterback is someone who is not on the roster right now.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm going to kind of answer to we'll just jump into the kind of the Lenoris conversation because I don't believe he's regressed this year and he's not NFL ready to me. And I think anyone advising him to go to the NFL at the end of this year is greedy or not thinking. When you look at what he's done, yes, the non-coachable things are there. But that's the thing. He's not going to shrink. He's not going to get smaller. He's not going to lose arm strength by coming back to college next year. What he needs to do is play more football. And I'm taking credit for Todd McShay's work, but Todd McShay, I was listening to him talk about quarterbacks in the NFL, and he made a great point. The guys that find success in the NFL, no matter their skill set, whether it be the Lamar Jacksons or Jaden Daniels, who can really be athletic and kill you with their legs and their arm, or the Jared Goffs and Drake May's actually pretty athletic, but some of these guys that beat you, whether they can beat you with your legs or your arm, the guys that are successful in the NFL are guys that played a lot of college ball. Or like even Mahomes, played a lot of college ball, then sat his first year in the NFL. The guys that usually bust, Mitch Trubisky only had 13 starts at UNC. Anthony Richardson only had one full season of starting. It would behoove Lenoris, which I don't think he's played himself out of the first round now. So
I don't believe that he has.
I think he has.
Which quarterbacks are you taking above Lenoris right now?
Mendoza from Indiana. Probably Carson Beck is going to probably be higher than Lenoris on draft boards. Who else? You're putting me on the spot, but
I mean, in my opinion, he's not going later than the third quarterback taken. So, how much more can you really improve your draft stock by coming back a year? I mean, yeah, if he comes back next year and balls out, he could maybe be first overall, but next year's class is better than this year's class. Arch will be coming out next year, and whether he deserves it or not, just his name alone is going to make him attractive to NFL franchises.
But it's about getting drafted high, but it's about having a long career in the NFL. You don't want to be a fucking Josh Rosen. He got drafted third overall. He's fucking selling insurance right now. He flamed out before he even had a spark. Ultimately, if you're advising Lenoris, yes, you want to get drafted in the first round, and to your point, maybe he still could. I believe he's slid, but that's I'm not an NFL GM. He could still get drafted in the first round, but the point is, do you want to get drafted in the first round, or do you want to have a successful NFL career? And I think if you're advising him, you go back and play more ball. He's got a lot of things to refine, and hopefully with a improved offensive line, like I said, we can't get much worse. Hopefully we can be better next year up front, and a new scheme. He can prove some things, but right now that game last night, missing open throws, And I think a lot of it when he's taking sacks, even when the O-line holds up, the few times that they did, and he ends up taking a sack, like Ole Miss rushed 2 guys, and they still get home. A lot of that, I think, is a bad scheme from Shula, where we're not getting, like, if you looked at the Skycast,
Yeah.
like,
Some,
you're looking, and everyone's like, throw it, Lenoris, but he doesn't have anyone open.
some of those are coverage sacks. There are times where there is literally no one open. But yeah, I mean, our offense is so out of sync. It's like the O-line will block well enough for him to be able to throw it, and he'll miss the guy, and then there'll be other times where there's no one open, and then there'll be other times where a guy comes open but the protection has already broken down. So yeah, I mean, I'm very ready to move on from our offense this season, both watching it and discussing it, and letting Shula go is the first part in being able to put this behind us. I mean, I had never really entertained the idea that it would be possible for Lenoris to come back, like, for another year. If that is something that is on the table, we're gonna have to pay. People might think that he doesn't deserve the money he got this year, or deserve the money it would take to keep him, but I know that there are going to be plenty of new coaches at new programs that think that they can get more out of him. And if he stays in college, we are going to have to fight off suitors. I'll tell you that much. I think that will be the same of Dylan Stewart. That's why I want to extend all of the defensive coaches immediately, because I think that while we will have to pay him, the reason that he would stay with us and not leave will have more to do with his personal relationships more than just money. Because if it was just money, like, there will be other places that can pay more. But then, how important is winning to Dylan? How important is winning to Lenoris? If we can't convince our best players that them staying here, we will have a competitive team next year. If winning at the college level is important to any of them, that is a factor that will play into whether or not they stay. I think we have enough good young talent, especially if Lenoris stays, that with what we should retain off of this year's team, what we have coming in from our high school recruiting class, and ideally what we can add in the portal, there's no reason why we can't be a really competitive team next year if we nail the OC hire and keep the defensive staff together. So yeah, it all just becomes about, are we gonna put up the money that it's gonna take to keep the core of what makes our team good right now together? Because I can't stress this enough. This off season is going to be the craziest thing we have ever seen, because not only is the coaching carousel massive, like, I can't remember a time in my lifetime that there were this many high profile job openings as this year, and Auburn's going to come open too, and Florida State might come open as well. But now you have the added layer of the portal existing. There has absolutely never been a coaching carousel as large as this one, where the players can transfer without eligibility restraints in the history of college football. So it's just going to be absolute chaos.
Well, and it's going to be a testament to, like, all this shit, and hey, run the program how you believe the program should be run, but Beamer harps on this, brotherhood, love above all else, like all this shit within the program. So this is going to be a testament to that. Like all that shit is just fugazi bullshit if we can't retain our best players.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean,
and I know it takes money, but like the whole reason you build the program and the identity that it's built under Beamer is so that you don't fucking lose guys just to money, because it's supposed to be about more than that. So if we go out this season, I know again, and whole nother discussion, but like I'm operating off the fact that, or off the assumption that we will keep Beamer going into next year.
right.
And he won't be fired. But like, if we go into the offseason and we're getting dudes plucked, especially our best dudes, ultimately guys are going to get plucked. And a lot of times in today's day and age, it's just, is what it is. You just let a guy walk. Like you know, he's not good. Let him walk, or he doesn't fit in the program or the vision for the next year. Let him walk. But like, if we start getting our better players plucked, that would be I would want to fire Beamer then. Like, I'm not to the point to fire him now, but if we get into the offseason and we start getting our best players plucked, then it's like, what do you have? Because the only reason you're getting defended by me and by people that are defending you in the fan base is that you've built an identity with the program. And if that identity doesn't shine through and doesn't prove to be what it is, then what do you have left? You have nothing. You have no identity, and you have a losing record and major failed season. So I do think this offseason is just as, it for us as a program is going to be huge. Just going out, obviously we have to get more talent, but we have to retain the dudes that we actually, because we got some dudes on this team, but
We have a great defense. It's I really, want to implore South Carolina fans to just enjoy watching our defense play. Like regardless of whether we beat Texas A&M or, I expect to beat Coastal and Clemson, but for the rest of the season, just enjoy watching our defense play because they're fun to watch. I know that we had some missed tackles last night, but I can remember watching really, really, really bad South Carolina defenses, and just as demoralizing as our offense has been, I think it is more demoralizing to have a defense that cannot stop people. And I love watching our defense play. It is really sad that we haven't gotten more wins out of them because we just can't score points. But if nothing else, just enjoy when they make plays and enjoy watching. I don't know how Iowa fans have existed in the last 20 years. Like, this is excruciating. But I guess you.
Well, they at least would win 8 games. They would do it the ugliest fucking way possible.
They win more than we've won this year. But I'm just like talking about the concept of having a phenomenal defense and just being completely unable to score every week, and just knowing that that's going to be the dynamic.
Yeah. No, it's been tough. Yeah, bring up that question from Chris Reese from Greenville, South Carolina, Ross. So we kind of touched on it, but do you pay Sellers to come back or roll with Cutter Woods? That, this is assuming that Sellers is going to stay in college. Appreciate this question, and we touched on it a little bit. I think you pay Sellers. Like I said, I don't think he should go to the NFL. He's not ready. he needs to play more football if he wants to have success, long term in the NFL. And he is, to me, worth the money. We got to put some better talent around him. We got to have a better scheme. And Shula is not only calling plays, but he's the QB coach too. So I don't know that we need to, if on the OC hire, maybe we go and get his whole offense, find a guy that's, down in the group of 5 or something that's had a lot of success, bring him up to the Power 4 and just have him bring his whole staff. Mike Fury brought in some guys on paper, but we haven't had a lick of production from the receiving core under Mike Fury. I mean, last year, Josh Simon was our leading receiver. We brought in, these 5 or 6 4-star guys, and Jaden Sellers is in the middle of the season. Jaden Sellers, the lowest rated recruit out of that bunch, is the most targeted guy on the team. The last 2 games, Oklahoma and Bama, before he gets injured going into the Ole Miss game. I mean, I'm not tied to any of the offensive coaches. I mean, I wanted Shula out, but you might just have to overhaul the whole staff. I mean, Sean Elliott, the offensive line has improved. It's still not good, and I don't know.
I'll be really curious.
Let the offensive coordinator bring in his guys to coach the position groups.
Really curious to see what we do with Sean Elliott. And I'm honestly curious to know what Sean Elliott wants for himself. I know that he wanted this job, when he had the interim tag after Spurrier retired, and when he didn't get it, he was probably told that they didn't give it to him because he didn't have head coaching experience. So he goes to Georgia State and gets some of that, and now he's back here in an assistant role again. Is he just, does he have enough money that he's comfortable and he just loves being around the game and he's happy to be a part of our program in any capacity? Or is he trying to, be a head coach here, be a head coach somewhere else again? I don't know. But, to your point, if we hire a new OC and he wants to bring everybody with him and clean house of our current offensive staff, how does that work with Sean? I don't know. But yeah, again, we will have we'll have plenty to talk about during the bye week just because of our own internal coaching search now.
Yeah.
And I'll be curious.
Well, and Sean could always just go to Georgia and be an analyst and win a couple national championships. Muschamp. But yeah, I think, yes, 100%. If Lenoris is willing to come back to college ball, I think you absolutely pay him. People are going to – and the fan base is kind of turning on Lenoris, or at least the frustration of last night led to a lot of comments degrading Lenoris. But ultimately, he played terrible last night. There's no way around it. It was a bad game, but he is still, to your point, from a talent perspective, intangibles, things you can't coach. Guys like him don't come around too often, and so I think you have to keep him if he's willing to stay in college, because if not, to your point, he'll go transfer somewhere. And I mean, in true Carolina fashion, for all the Gamecock basketball fans out there, we finally make the tournament. We run into Jermaine Couisnard at Oregon, and he drops a 40 ball on us in the NCAA tournament. So that's what's going to happen. Lenoris will transfer within the SEC, And he'll beat the fuck out of us next year if we let him go.
No, yeah, I'm going to echo that sentiment. If Lenoris is willing to stay in college, you have to pay him whatever he wants to stay with us. I I see where you're coming from, Chris. With if you pay less for the quarterback, it gives you more resources to get more weapons around him. I do think that one of the reasons that we did so well in the portal, not this year but the year prior, is because we were paying Spencer Rattler this much, and then we were able to pay Lenoris less than we had paid Spencer the year before, which gave us more room in the budget to go get Kyle Kennard and Demetrius Knight. And, we had a lot of success with that. The problem is, Cutter Woods is not redshirt freshman Lenoris. So the drop off from Lenoris to Cutter, I don't know that the money that we save there, we would be able to go get other players to make up that gap. Really what we have to do is, I know that Gamecock fans are not going to want to hear this, but we have to find the money to pay Lenoris and pay Dylan, and then find whatever else, and then find more money to go get both of them help. And that's just what it is. I mean, I had never even really entertained the idea that he would come back. I went into this season obviously expecting him to have a great year and go pro, but even as this year became what it has become, and even though his stats don't look good, I still think that there are plenty of teams that would take him very high based off of just his traits. To your point, I would be curious to see, or I'd be curious to know what the people around, do the people around him feel that it would actually benefit him to stay in college and develop more and think more long term rather than just declaring and seeing what happens.
I mean, hearing his father talk in the off season when he was getting big dollar offers this past off season.
Well, that's another.
And he said, "We got a job. We came here to do a job," and that gives me, some.
That is another.
Some hope that he's committed to the university more than the dollar signs.
That's another thing, because of NIL. It's not like they're pinching pennies by him waiting an extra year to.
That's what I'm saying.
The
let him develop more, and he's still going to get paid.
The NFL money is substantially higher, but he will still do very well and has done very well. Yeah, that's super. If he stays, I think that kind of solves a lot of our problem. We still would need to make a good hire at OC, but if we get Lenoris to come back, I feel really, really confident that we will bounce back in a very hard way next season. Do we have any faith that Beamer can make the right hire at OC? And I'll say this: this would be the first offensive coordinator hire that he has made with our current AD, correct?
Yeah.
So if it is the belief that Beamer is unable to hire an OC himself, maybe the new influence of our new athletic director will be a beneficial resource and might improve that process. I think that I don't think that anyone questioned that Ray Tanner loved South Carolina and wanted the best for South Carolina. I think the people that were critical of him were critical of his lack of experience in actually being an athletic director because he had never been one. Our new AD has been an athletic director before. I think he has more experience and knowledge when it comes to how to go about coaching searches and the process, and so yeah. I mean, I don't know what my personal thoughts and opinions are about Beamer's ability to hire an OC, but if you're asking me why I think this time will be different, we do have a different athletic director, and I don't know if this will be a good thing or a bad thing, but the amount of movement that's about to take place because of all of the job openings, I think that we're just going to get we're going to get to look at a lot more people than you might in a season where everyone's kind of staying put because they have stability. It's we may not get to look at the guys that we would look at first because everyone's favorite OC is going to be interviewing for a head coaching job. But all of these assistants that have lost their jobs because the head coach at that university got fired, they're all going to be looking for new work too. So, like, I don't know. There's just going to be a lot of moving pieces. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I think. God damn it! What was I about to say? What was the question? Oh, the OC. Yeah. So I think, Satterfield was butt. Dowell Loggins, in hindsight, I know the fan base in the midst of the Dowell Loggins era didn't necessarily love Dowell Loggins, but ultimately we had some success with him as the offensive coordinator, and he's a head coach right now. So I don't know that that's a straight up bad hire. Shula has obviously been awful. So yes, there is fear that, and that's what I think a lot of the fan base is saying, like, just get rid of Beamer because he isn't going to make the right choice at offensive coordinator. And so why even give him the opportunity? Why not just clean house fully instead of just on the offensive staff? Fair, but also, like I said, Dowell wasn't necessarily a horrible hire.
I do not think Dowell was a bad hire.
Right.
I don't think it was a bad hire.
If he doesn't take the job at State, he's still our offensive coordinator this season, and maybe this season looks different with Dowell calling plays.
Like, our team was good enough to make the playoff last year with Dowell as the OC, and the offense had a lot of good performance. Like, Dowell was not a bad hire. So
right. I mean, I don't know. I think Satterfield's coaching under Matt Rule because they're buddies, but I don't see Shula. I don't think Shula's getting a job after this, bro.
I think Sat's already.
Dowell's a head coach, so that's a good hire.
I think Sat's been let go from Nebraska.
Shit.
Beamer is 1 for 3. So
1 for 2, or 1 for 3.
He's 1 for 3.
1 for 3. Yeah. Satterfield, but Shula, ass. Dowell was pretty good, but I think, again, I'm not attached to any coaches on this offensive staff. We haven't been. There isn't a coach on the offensive staff that I think is someone we should. Oh, we definitely need to keep that guy, even if we hire a new play caller. But we'll see what happens. This episode got ransacked by the news that Mike Shula has been fired by Coach Beamer and the Gamecock football team.
Maybe because of how many coaches are going to get fired each week on Sundays, we should record later in the day so we can have all of the news before we press record.
Yeah, we might have to do that. Mike Shula is out as the offensive coordinator at South Carolina. We just kind of got that news at the beginning of this episode and went on a tangent. Didn't really talk about a lot about what we plan to, but The good thing is the bye week is coming up, and so we'll have some filler where we won't be previewing a game or talking about a particular game or matchup. So we can talk more about all the crazy shit that's going on, and we wanted to get to some of the national headlines that we didn't really get to. But again, we'll have plenty of time to talk about this stuff as the Gamecocks have a bye week coming up before the final stretch of the season against A&M, Coastal, and Pickens Tech. But quickly, because we're all about transparency and being authentic, we're going to recap the DB Blitz. Even though Thomas and I both went 1-4, it was ugly out there this weekend. But again, we're all about transparency, and even if we're losing, we're gonna run through our records. The DB Blitz, as always, is sponsored by Hughley Insurance. Austin and Greer are 2 USC alum doing home and auto insurance here in the state of South Carolina. Give them a call for any of your home and auto needs. Greer and Austin Hughley Insurance. Bet on Hughley. We always cover. Great tagline there from the Hughley brothers. So DB Blitz time. I was 1-4, like I mentioned. Virginia got me, honestly, saved me from an 0-5. They got a pick six with like 40 seconds left. Vandy, I'm kind of happy they got their reckoning. I wish it didn't happen this week, but those guys, Arch is in concussion protocol. He's played like dog shit the entire year, and they make him look like Peyton and Eli reincarnated on Saturday. He had 312 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, looked great. Texas whipped them, and then Vandy made some late scores to make it look better than it was, but disappointed in that result. But I am kind of glad Vandy got beat, if I'm being completely honest. K-State started out good. Texas Tech ended up just beating the hell out of them. Bad pick. I thought K-State as a home dog could spring the upset. God, what were my other shitty picks? Who else did I have, Ross? I don't see it on the screen.
You had Georgia, South Carolina.
Georgia. Yeah, Georgia, they had the cover. Gunnar Stockton made the smart football play instead of what all gamblers wanted him to do, which was score the touchdown. So he took a knee at the 1. Georgia struggled in that game anyway. I don't even really think they deserved to cover. So it is what it is on that. And then obviously the Cox, we compete, and we just couldn't do anything offensively. And then Ole Miss got the late touchdown from Lacey from 54 yards to get the cover. So bad week, very bad week for overall for the DB Blitz, and obviously the Cox losing. So
All right. Syracuse gets their butt whooped by North Carolina. I might have to take North Carolina off of the auto fade sheet. They have covered 3 weeks in a row. I'm still up on the year fading North Carolina because the first time I did it, it was a max bet, but I'm going to stop doing it. Duke covered and won outright. That was the only thing that was kind of damage control for me yesterday. Enjoyed that for many reasons. Think I'm going to continue to fade Clemson for the rest of the year. Vanderbilt, you covered it. Texas was better. Georgia, that one stung. I actually doubled down on Georgia right before kickoff. So, Gunnar making the smart, responsible football play was was a pretty big swing for me. Georgia Tech shocked me. Not only did they not cover, they lost the game outright to NC State. I guess they'd had some near losses earlier this year, and it finally caught up with them. The ACC's a cluster right now. I mean, I don't know what the standings look like. I think Virginia's
It's crazy. There's 6 teams. Virginia's undefeated, which is funny as hell because they lost to NC State.
Right.
But it wasn't a conference game.
Right.
So they're technically undefeated. And then there's like 5 teams with 1 loss in the conference.
Right.
So
I mean, tough day at the office yesterday. Gamecocks lose.
Yeah, the Madcock obviously didn't hit. Gamecocks didn't cover or win. We're really fucking up the Madcock this year because Clemson is obviously 3-5, so they've been losing. And even in the games they've won, I think they covered against UNC, but and they've been playing before us. It seems like every week. And they fucking lose, and then it's like, all right, Madcock, let's go.
Yeah.
And we can't hold up our end of the bargain on the Madcock. So tough season.
Here's a fun stat, though. Clemson has lost 6 Power 4 games at home in a row. They haven't beat a Power 4 team at home this season. So that's just your fun fact of the day.
Tom Allen need to beat them. We really need to beat them.
Tom Allen got them boys ready to play.
Yeah.
Matt Luke got them boys ready to play.
Hey, if anyone can make Tom Allen look good, it's the South Carolina offense. So let's not. Let's get let's see who's calling plays the last 3 weeks.
A stoppable force against a movable object.
Straight up. That game's going to be – I mean, hell, and we'll talk about it more, but that game is probably going to be fun. Just 2 pissed-off fan bases, rivalry game, 2 teams that had high expectations that are dashed. Neither of us are going to a bowl game. Like – It's gonna be feeling like Tommy Bowden versus Lou Holtz.
Yeah,
that thing.
That game is gonna come down to like which team has quit less on the season. And right now, I think that Clemson has quit a little bit more than us. But we need to. I don't know, dude. We're gonna beat Coastal. They're gonna beat Furman. But if they can beat Louisville or FSU, that might I would love to beat A&M just because it would probably make our players feel better. Like we haven't won in forever. Like Kentucky feels like a million years ago.
Yeah. No, we need. I mean, and maybe. Fortunately, we get. I guess they play a bum before us the week before us, don't they?
They play Furman.
Yeah. Okay. I was about to say we get a nice little.
Do they have Louisville next? Louisville's going to smack them.
They have. Let me check.
They
play Louisville next. No, FSU then Louisville.
Damn it!
But anyways,
was Florida State off this week?
No, they beat the shit out of Wake Forest.
Okay, good. All right, Florida State has a pulse. They'll beat Clemson. Clemson's going 4-8, dude.
We'll see. This was fun. Episode derailed by the Mike Shula news, but had some good conversation, and the bye week is coming, so we'll just continue talking around some of the ongoings in college football. Gamecocks are 3-6. This team sucks, but we're going to talk about them no matter what. So we'll be back on Wednesday.
The offense
just to have.
The defense is good.
The offense sucks. Yeah.
The special teams.
Yeah, that's a whole other thing. That's a thing for another. We will talk more on Wednesday. But that's a wrap. Again, this Touchdowns podcast presented by Cross Country Mortgage, Harrison Williamson. Wow, Mike Shula fired. So a lot more to talk about going forward with this team, even though we're 3-6. So that's a wrap on today's episode. As always, go Cox.
Go Cox.